Residents in Texas remain without power as the president steps in and declares a national state of emergency. Meantime, two executive orders announced today. One regarding your stimulus. This is the incredible progress you had hoped for because the president's starting to realize that he needs to go bigger, bolder. And the other item, while not about stimulus, shows a reversion in which the president's doing something bigger than he was doing just 7 days ago. This is big news and great news about your stimulus. Elsewhere, Bitcoin, spiral high, $50,000, all-time record, as Tesla plummets, falls, testing its resistance level. One more dollar, it could break the resistance level, and this is after a big fall in recent days, no more than $20. Then consumer spending will be announced tomorrow. The consumer spending number ultimately may determine your stimulus. If it's not a good number to be announced at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, this could be the rallying cry for more stimulus across the board. And finally, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett. He announced two major acquisitions of shares tonight, and those stocks rallied. Who are they and what are they? I have all the details for you on a big evening's recording, the first of a doubleheader of Evenings LALATE. Thank you for joining me on Evenings LALATE. Boy, this is the first of a double header. The recording after this one, I'm going to do something different. I hope you tune in because it's going to be a fun recording. On the video after this, I'm going to go through all the items of the third stimulus package, all 22 of them approximately, and show you which ones apply to you, which ones we don't know about, and which ones have been misreported about in recent days. So make sure you stay tuned for that big stimulus recording on Purple right after this live recording. That one will be live as well. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Like this video. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. The link is in the description, also at the top of the chat. Boy, we're at 99 million views, and we're in our 9th month. It's a record. It has never been seen anywhere in the history of broadcasting, history of YouTube, history of anything. So help us get to 100 million views. We're just a shy little bit away. Make sure you watch all of today's videos. And if you did not catch a video earlier today, every single one was jam-packed with financial news. Thank you for joining me on LALATE, from Wall Street to Main Street, from my home to your home. Thank you for joining me on the most comprehensive financial business channel there is, and the most interactive. I'll be answering some of your questions on air shortly in a minute at the 20-minute mark. But first, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news, of course, is still the weather. The weather. It continues to just cripple the country. Outages across state after state. 4 million in the state of Texas without power. Weather temps are expected to rise shortly for a day, but then are expected to plummet again. Power grids overwhelmed. The power grid, the Southwest Power Pole, which controls 14 states from North Dakota to Oklahoma. Rolling outages across the board. 800 daily outages being reported. Oil, electric, and more going offline. The president stepping in with emergency orders. Residents in Dallas bunkering down their home with no electric and no heat and no gas. Really a desperate situation, and the hope is still in place. Meantime, elsewhere, tomorrow morning we start with a major number, a major economic number that could impact your stimulus. What is that number? It's the consumer spending number. It's a January number. It looks at how retail sales were in the month of January. Economists are expecting retail sales to rise by 1.2% when the numbers are announced at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 on the West Coast tomorrow morning. The number's important because of the following. One, it's expected to be better than the December number. The December number shocked everyone because it was very bad. It was down. It was a decline of retail spending by 0.7%. Wall Street is expecting it to be up 1.2. So if the number comes in about where Wall Street estimates are, you're still going to get stimulus because there's currently a bill. But if the number falls much lower than what Wall Street's looking for, a rise of 1.2, you could see what's happening currently. Senators asking for more stimulus, bigger and bolder. And I have great news across the board later in this recording as 3 senators and the President of the United States see stimulus going bigger and bolder now that situations have unfathomed and unraveled in recent days. More about that coming up. But here's the reaction of going into tomorrow's morning. Stephen Stanley, chief economist at Amherst Peerport, says the main narrative is that things turned around since December. November and December were quite negative, and as the virus was gaining momentum, people were hunkering down. In January, you had an unwind to a little extent. People are getting vaccinated. That's going to be another burst of activity. I would think we're going to see improvement basically from now until as long as the middle of the year. It's going to start to open up in March. Well, the great news came today as the president announced 2 major orders. The first executive order for stimulus, and the second one related to it. The second one concerned vaccine doses. The president of the United States started the day by saying he is on path to not only match but beat his goal of 100 million vaccinations in 100 days. He said we're going to crush that goal. But what did he do later in the day? He said we're expanding the rollout of the doses, even on top of his number announced last week. Last week, you saw a major turning point. The turning point was cities and counties across the country were not vaccinating citizens. They were too slow, mismanaged, and inept. The president stepped in and said, we're not going to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to order more doses, and we're going to send those doses to the local pharmacy on the street corner down the street. Your CVS, your Walgreens, your local pharmacy like a Rite Aid. We're going to send them out so that you can go to your local pharmacy. You don't have to go to an amphitheater or a stadium. You can go to a pharmacy, you know the pharmacist, and get vaccinated in the peace of mind that you want. It's been a big hit. It's been a big hit, with vaccinations now surging to 1 million a day, and estimates saying that could go as high as 3 million a day. At the current rate, the new economists involved with the economic analysis say we could see massive full vaccination in the United States economy by July. This is huge. What does this mean then for your stimulus? Well, today, President Biden announced another executive order, and that executive order was again a modification of stimulus amid concerns of how big and bold you need to go. More about that in a second. But we ended the day with stocks really taking a plummeting, taking a fall in some places and taking a rise in others. Tesla fell yet again, down 20 points to 796. Now it's, and after hours trading, it's at 794. Its resistance level is 793. If you see it breaking its resistance level, boy, the next resistance level for Tesla could be 640. It could be bad sailing from there on out. Apple's down $2 today, $2 and some change, also an after-hours trading at about 133. Microsoft down $1.25, 243. Walmart up another $1 to 145. But Western Alliance, wow, what's the story there? Up 2.25, up 80, up to $80, up $11 since early January. That's Western Alliance. Verizon and Chevron got some good news. And Wall Street got good news as well. As we look for stimulus and we look for good news, well, we found it as Berkshire Hathaway's Warren Buffett confirmed that on December 31st, he bought another $146 million of Verizon shares, bringing it to $9 billion. Shares of Verizon are up 2% overnight. Chevron shares are up 2%, as well as Berkshire Hathaway confirmed a buy on that as well. CVS Health, of course, CVS Health reported earnings today and killed estimates because of the vaccine rollout. Meantime, Bitcoin's up $50,000, up to $50,000 for the first time in history. This is as more businesses from Tesla to MasterCard are embracing Bitcoin. But how about your stimulus? Well, you're going to get a $1,400 stimulus check, $2,800 for married couples, $1,400 for children, $1,400 for adult dependents. And that stimulus check will be determined by a $1.9 trillion stimulus package bill that will be landing in the Senate on February 22nd. The bill's provisions are up for modification by Senate Democrats. What's important to understand is the following: that Senate Democrats can modify the bill, not really Senate Republicans. Republicans are not in the mix of the discussion. Rather, the real key is that the Democratic caucus maintains all Democrats on alliance of voting in favor of the bill. And currently, they don't have it. Three Democrats have already indicated they want to go bigger, bolder, and more in favor of a larger stimulus package. And when the bill arrives on February 22nd, it doesn't mean that the bill won't get approved. It just means that they want more stimulus. Now, the first time you're hearing this anywhere is on this channel. And I'm going to tell you it right now, that SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, that $200 a month on top of your existing benefits, that 20% increase, up to 20% increase, and that new benchmark different than COLA, CPIE, it doesn't have to go in the third stimulus package. You know why? Because it was written in a standalone bill by an author who's still around. And it should be done again. Let me show you how simple this is. All the author has to do is take that March 2020 bill, change the date, change a few provisions, and put it to the Senate for a vote. And who is that person? It's Elizabeth Warren. In March of 2020, Elizabeth Warren wrote the bill that has become the discussion of this channel every single day. And she wrote those three provisions: the $200, the new benchmark, the increased lifetime. It was that bill of March 2020 and that she wrote and introduced to the Senate. All she has to do is do it again. It's as simple as that. Put the bill into the Senate, have Chuck Schumer support it again. He supported it in 2020. Call it for a vote, and you're done. It goes back to the House. Of course, Nancy Pelosi would support it, and it's done. It's very simple. Why complicate things? Why complicate things? And guess what? She would do it. Why? Because she did a $50,000 student loan debt forgiveness standalone bill just a few days ago. And that same day that she did it, Cory Booker reintroduced his 2020 bill with her support. No reason to complicate things. Make it very simple. Introduce that bill to the Senate and call it for a vote. All right, next. President Biden wants more stimulus, and that message came loud and clear today. And that message came with a new executive order. What was that executive order? The executive order was to provide relief for federally backed mortgages. Now, understand there's two things when we talk about mortgages. We talk about mortgage forbearance, which means you cannot be foreclosed upon. And then we talk about mortgage money. Under the third stimulus package, there is money for private mortgages and publicly underwritten mortgages. Under the executive orders today, he extended mortgage forbearance under federally backed mortgages. The ruling today extended the ban on foreclosures through June 2021, allowed homeowners to enroll in mortgage payment forbearance programs through June 2021, and extend forbearance programs for an additional 6 months for those who already entered a mortgage payment program before June 30th, 2020. This is what Matthew Ammon, acting HUD secretary, said in a statement obtained by LA News Tonight. As President Biden has made it clear, it is urgent that we help homeowners throughout the nation who are struggling financially from this unprecedented national emergency. These steps we are taking today will provide immediate relief to those in desperate need of assistance and help more homeowners keep their homes and resume their payments when the pandemic subsides. The mortgage forbearance announcement by executive order, the stimulus relief today, covers mortgages underwritten by HUD, Housing and Urban Development, Department of Agriculture, Department of Veterans, Fannie Mae, and Fannie Mae. If you don't know if your mortgage is underwritten by Freddie or Fannie or any federal institution, you can go to Fannie and Freddie's website and they have a lookup tracking tool. It'll tell you who's underwriting your mortgage. Elsewhere, There's incredible great news across the board today that we may be in a V-shaped recovery. A V-shaped recovery versus a K-shaped recovery means all parts of this economy rebounds at the same time. But ultimately, the big question is job creation. How many jobs are being created? There were 6,000 jobs created in the month of January, a number which Joe Biden said is horrible, would take us 10 years to rebound. And we won't see till later this month how many jobs are created in the month of February. The other thing to understand is the number released on Thursday morning before sunrise is the jobless claims. People who newly claim for unemployment, about 800,000 per week, and how many continuing claims of unemployment, about 21 million, of which one quarter, 40%, are long-term unemployed. The great news is that with Joe Biden, with the president today announcing yet another executive order for stimulus, there's a renewed focus that maybe you need more stimulus. The more stimulus you get, the more stimulus we go. As Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said last week, we shouldn't be doing this forever. And that's sort of what Ron Wyden, the Democrat out of Oregon, says. We shouldn't continue to be asking for stimulus relief every 10 seconds. Ron Wyden's approach, tie stimulus to economic factors. So we don't have to keep on coming back every few moments. The unemployment numbers are not good in the country and may not improve for a while, even if vaccination numbers increase. Here's how vaccination numbers impact the economy. As more people are vaccinated, businesses start to open. As businesses start to open, businesses get more income. As businesses get more income, they may hire more employees. But ultimately, that is the path that you hope it happens. It may not happen that way. And then there's this: 2 in 5 people are jobless, 2 in 5 people unemployed in the country, or more than 4 million people are now long-term unemployed, meaning they've been unemployed for 6 months. And the concern is that they may not get the type of employment they need as fast as possible. Joe Biden said that we need more job creation, and ultimately job creation may not be here in the next few weeks, signaling the need for another stimulus package. Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden confirm that they're currently working on what they call the recovery stimulus package. This is currently the rescue stimulus package. Because Joe Biden said just 2 weeks ago, we saw the jobs report from January. Only 6,000 private sector jobs were created. And at that rate, it's going to take 10 years before we get to full unemployment. That's not hyperbole. Basically, you have to look at a series of economic factors, and those economic factors will determine how much and how big. And here you are on the third stimulus package. If you are a single individual, you're getting a $1,400 stimulus check. If you're a married couple, you get a $2,800 stimulus check. But how about everyone else? If you're a child, and you're 5 years or younger, you're getting a $5,000 stimulus check. You're getting $3,600 of a stimulus check plus a $1,400. The $3,600 is a prepaid tax credit, which will start paying $300 a month in the month of July. That's $3,600 plus $1,400, which arrives after the bill's finalized. If you're 17 to 6, you're going to get $3,000 plus $1,400. The $3,000 will be paid $250 a month starting in the month of July until a year passes, and $1,400 right after the bill is passed. Next, if you are a hazard pay worker and made less than $25,000 2019 earnings, you will get $1,500 and $1,400. You'll get $1,500 as a tax credit next year, and you'll get $1,400 as a stimulus check now. Then, college students will get $1,700 of financial aid plus $1,400 as a stimulus check. Business owners will get $5,000 of EIDL grant plus $1,400 as their individual stimulus check. And so you see there's a lot of things that you can get for individual items across the stimulus package. But the other thing to understand is that second stimulus, the stimulus package signed by the President of the United States, is currently law. That second stimulus package established the return of the EIDL grant. And what's happening right now is that people who applied for the 2020 EIDL grant are getting paid the remainder of the $10,000 EIDL grant. They started SBA first with the low income based communities. Now they're on to non-low income based communities. And after that, they will have the application open for 2021 applicants. Third stimulus will have another round of EIDL as well. PPP is currently open under the second stimulus package and may stay open for a while. A PPP can be gotten by an Uber or Lyft driver, Airbnb, anyone who has a Schedule C. You reach out to the lenders like Fundera or Cabbage, and they tell you the documents they want. You fill out the documents they need, and then they submit it for you. And the loan turns into a grant. Finally, there's rent, utilities, and food under the second stimulus package. There's also executive orders for food as well. SNAP benefits is provided under the Department of Agriculture's overview. SNAP benefits pay about $1,400 a month if you're a family of four in Hawaii. That's free food. They don't deliver you the food, they give you the money for the food. If you have a child that has to stay home from the pandemic, then they get PBET. So what are these calculations? Well, under the executive orders of Trump and Biden, you now have a 15% increase on your SNAP benefits for 1 year. Second, you now have PBET nationally. Number 3, 6-year-olds are now included for the first time ever. Number 4, 6-year-olds are retroactive back to August. Number 5, PBET now has a 15% increase. So how does this work? First, you have to get on SNAP benefits by reaching out to the Department of Agriculture. Then once you're on SNAP benefits, if your child has to stay home because of the pandemic, you call them up and say, my child is staying home because of the pandemic. They will add that child for PBET. It starts at about $154 a month, and then they'll add 15% on top of that. Same thing for the 6-year-old as well. So many great things happen across the board for so much money for so many people. Ultimately, it's important to understand that under third stimulus, there is 5 items for people to get. But under second stimulus, which is already law, you can get rent, utilities, food. If you're having problems with rent and utilities, reach out to the department, reach out to the volunteers. They're in the description of this video. They're at news.la.com/community. They can help you find rent. They can help you find utilities. You reach out to them by saying, hi, I'm in the current city of Milwaukee. I'm in Dallas, Texas. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I need help with rent. I need help with utilities. And they will help you. They're separated from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Finally, be respectful of their time because some of them are suffering power outages in the Midwest like the rest of us. And with that, there's so much happening across the board. At this point, I'll answer some of your questions on afternoons LA's recording and evenings LA. Anything that you saw during the scope of today's recordings that you have a question and you have a comment about. Remember, second stimulus is law, first stimulus is law, third stimulus is currently pending. With 1,000 people room and 500 likes, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Also, like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. The link is at the top of this video and also in this chat. It's important to understand that as the provisions of the third stimulus package come out, we'll have more details as more. Minor dependents are also getting $1,400 stimulus check and also a tax credit. Yes. So Patricia, let's make it specific. So for Patricia, 5-year-olds to newborns will get $5,000, which is $3,600 plus $1,400. And then 17-year-olds to 6-year-olds will get $3,000 plus $1,400. Someone just asked, is there rent assistance for middle class in the third stimulus package? There is. Middle class, low income, homeless, and fear and facing homelessness are all covered for rent assistance in the third stimulus package. It's important to understand we need more stimulus soon, and we definitely need stimulus right away. I appreciate that comment. I agree. Good evening from Louisiana, says Tammy. Hey, good evening. How are you? Oh, big massive windstorms. My Lord. One person said they're accepting rent in a particular place in Texas. Switching ages when asking about, so someone asked a question about the child tax credit when you're changing ages. Ultimately, look at the IRS's website. It provides guidance for that. My son works at a warehouse. Will he be considered an essential worker? Depends on the task. We have not seen the hazard pay provision. In the video after this, I will go over every provision in the third stimulus package, and that's sort of a question for that. That hazard pay provision is one we've not seen anything yet. Thank God, rental assistance, been unemployed for 10 months now. So, Richard, yes, reach out to the volunteers and they'll help you get rent assistance. Good evening from Minnesota, says Ashley. Good evening, how are you? Hello from California, says Dawn. We need hazard pay to listen to these airheads. uh, what about February 22nd? Do you think anything will happen by then? Well, the bill has to pass the House and land in the Senate by February 22nd. Remember, a bill to become law has to be approved by the House, approved by the Senate, and then signed by the President. All three steps have to happen. Elliot, really appreciate all the help you do. I really appreciate that. Someone said, Elliot, please help. What was the question? What about retro unemployment? Ultimately, the push for that remains with Ron Wyden. It's currently not in the bill. Good evening from Decatur, Illinois. Good evening, Dean. How are you? Hit that purple power button, says Patricia. Amen. Love you, LH, says Sandy. Love you back. Ooh, the wind is enormous tonight. We really need FPUC, says Nathan. Absolutely. Colleen, because my rent was not behind schedule, I was turned away. Um, so that's an important reason to reach out to the volunteers because third stimulus, for example, Colleen, third stimulus by reference point, which is not law yet, requires you to be behind on rent. And I don't remember what second stimulus was. It may have been the same. But ultimately, when we're looking at volunteers, the volunteers this channel have resources of nonprofits like Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul, Community Action, United Way, and that ultimately the resources of each individual nonprofit, they see situations differently. They don't always require you to be the same thing as the next person. And that's one of the messages I always try to remind viewers is that the second stimulus and third stimulus have restrictions about what they do for unemployment, and that those restrictions are not always there for the nonprofits. Ellen, I've been faithful since April. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I rent a room from an individual in a house. Can I get help for rent? What I would recommend is that if you're looking to get help for rent under the third stimulus package and you don't have a lease agreement, I would recommend you get a lease agreement with that person. Otherwise, you may not be able to get rent assistance. Hey, Mike, thank you for the hippopotamus. He's, I don't know what he's doing. He's doing like this. I appreciate it, Mike, for the hippopotamus. I've been an OG viewer since May, says Ashley. I appreciate that. EIDL OG from April 2020, waiting on that email for the grant. Amen. I love that. Keep on pushing, keep on staying positive. It's gonna come. And with 29 minutes on the clock, let me give you the big update where we are tonight. The big updates are one, there's a massive windstorm coming into LA as I can hear it outside. Number two, the snow and the power outages continue to cripple the Midwest. 4 million still out of power in Texas. The number continues to grow as the power grids remain down in certain areas. The turbines, whether it's electric, gas, or similar utilities, remain out of service in certain areas. While weather is expected to improve tomorrow, it's expected to get worse thereafter. Second, the President of the United States announced two major executive orders today. The first is a mortgage forbearance, an extension of mortgage forbearance. Again, this is federally backed mortgages for 6 more months. Don't worry if you need help with mortgage payments if you have a private mortgage, because that's in the third stimulus package. Next, he announced the doubling of the number of doses he's delivering to local pharmacies across the country after that has been a big success. The rollout of vaccine doses earlier this year to cities and counties was a fiasco. And now companies like CVS and Walgreens are doing great work by vaccinating enormous numbers of people in a very short period of time. 1 million vaccinations are being achieved in this country currently, and we're on path to complete vaccination of this country perhaps by July. Next, tomorrow we'll see the consumer spending number released at just about 5:30 on the West Coast, 8:30 on the East Coast in the morning. And this number will ultimately not determine your stimulus if it's where estimates put it. But if it comes in really badly, expect this to really push for more stimulus. Third, there's a real progress now to go bigger and bolder on stimulus after the president announced this massive stimulus today of mortgage forbearance, and after 3 Democrats in the Senate say, I don't think I'm going to agree to this 1.9 as written. We need to make modifications. Finally, certain securities continue to climb and others continue to fall. Verizon and Chevron rose overnight after hours trading after Warren Buffett confirmed that Berkshire Hathaway took an equity stake larger than initially thought in both companies. Tesla continues its downward fall, is $1 away from its latest threshold and resistance level. And then Western Alliance continues to skyrise as Walmart, Amazon, and Facebook were relatively flat for the day. I'll be next with you in about 5 minutes after this recording with an unusual recording in which I go through all the items of the third stimulus package. And I go over each one and what we know, what we don't know, what we need to still know, where the fake narratives are out there, what people are saying about what items are when they really are not that case. So you get ready to pounce as a purple hawk. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also like this video. And if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll be back in just 4 minutes after this recording. Watch for the live feed. See you then.